WikiLeaks offers $100,000 reward for the redacted parts of the JFK assassination files that have been held back by the CIA for security reasons. WikiLeaks will pay $100,000 for redacted parts of the JFK files. They will pay if they show violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error. White House will allow CIA and FBI to black out portions of some JFK assassination documents for 6 months while they justify the edits. Trump said he was going to lift the veil of secrecy on Thursday, but he is now allowing exceptions for files that would expose informants and foreign spies. 1992 law required the president to release all the government's documents related to the 1963 assassination by Thursday. But it gave the White House a national security loophole, and Trump is taking it. WikiLeaks is offering a $100,000 to the person who can provide them with the redacted parts of the files relating to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. However, the organization will only pay the reward if the unreleased parts of the documents show violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error. They made the offer in a tweet Friday morning after nearly 2,900 of the JFK assassination files were released last night. Around 200 documents have been held back by federal agencies as they say they pose a risk to national security, a fact which is said to have displeased President Trump. Trump had no choice but to allow intelligence, law enforcement, and military agencies to redact specific pages, but unless they can justify this within 6 months, they too will be released. He was unhappy with the level of redactions, a White House official told CNN. The person added that Trump believed the agencies were not meeting the spirit of the law. The White House has released 2,891 documents related to the assassination of John F. Kennedy that have long been kept secret. The trove of files was published on the National Archives website on Thursday night, and produced revelations and prompted more questions about the fateful day in Dallas in 1963. The documents revealed that Lee Harvey Oswald was being tracked by the FBI before JFK was killed and met a KGB agent in Mexico City's Soviet embassy 2 months before the shooting. An unidentified man also called the FBI and said they were going to kill Oswald, just 24 hours before he was gunned down by Jack Ruby while in police custody. A White House official told DailyMail.com during a conference call that while Trump wants to remove the veil of secrecy regarding the 1963 killing, he has no choice today but to accept those redactions rather than risk irreversible harm to the country. There does remain sensitive information in the records, the official said, often related to the identity of individuals involved in their roles as informants. The official also said some edits would be made to hide activities that were conducted with foreign partner agencies. The administration has essentially kicked the can a bit, a White House aide admitted after a conference call with reporters on Thursday. "We can't keep this up forever," he admitted, "but it's better to get it right than to do it quickly." The White House has set April 26, 2018 as the new deadline for spy and law enforcement agencies to justify each and every redaction. Executive departments and agencies have proposed to me that certain information should continue to be redacted because of national security, law enforcement, and foreign affairs concerns, Trump wrote in a memo to the National Archives. "I have no choice today but to accept those redactions rather than allow potentially irreversible harm to our nation's security. To further address these concerns, I am also ordering agencies to re-review each and every one of those redactions over the next 180 days. At the end of that period, I will order the public disclosure of any information that the agencies cannot demonstrate meets the statutory standard for continued postponement of disclosure, he added. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said in a statement that Trump has demanded unprecedented transparency from the agencies and directed them to minimize redactions without delay.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
JFK is still the most popular president among people who have no living memory of him.
Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That tells you all you need to know.
So help me God.
It may be a myth, but it must be a powerful myth because it's been passed from generation to generation to generation. And I think it will continue. It will continue in a different way when you no longer have living among you people who personally saw John F. Kennedy and understood what happened. Never forget that the world as we know it would not exist today, maybe at all, had it not been for John F. Kennedy.
That revised time frame will leave him open to claims of a new cover-up as he finds himself stuck between students of the killing who want every scrap of information and intelligence agencies that are counseling restraint. One of the documents released on Thursday night included a transcript of a conversation with FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover concerning a threat made against Lee Harvey Oswald. There is nothing further on the Oswald case except that he is dead. Last night, we received a call in our Dallas office from a man talking in a calm voice and saying he was a member of a committee organized to kill Oswald, Hoover says. He also says he was assured by Dallas police that they would give the shooting suspect protection, but Jack Ruby managed to kill him on November 24, 1963. 2 days after JFK's assassination. Other files not related to the shooting show that Robert Kennedy was sent a memo when he was Attorney General warning him that a book detailing his affair with Marilyn Monroe was about to be published. There is also more insight into the elaborate plots to kill communist leaders in Latin America, including Fidel Castro. The White House said that about 2,800 files released on Thursday to the National Archives and Records Administration are only those that will be released in full, and agencies will be able to roll out partially edited documents over the next week. The vast majority of the requests came from the FBI and CIA, a White House official said. The National Archives has more than 5 million pages of records related to the 1963 Kennedy assassination, including photos, films, recordings, and artifacts. About 88% of it has been fully available to the public since the late 1990s, and another 11% has been released with sensitive portions blacked out. The remaining 1% has remained totally secret. Under a 1992 law passed after Oliver Stone made a conspiracy-laden JFK assassination movie, everything was set for an October 26, 2017 release. The law's framers built in a national security loophole, and Trump has been convinced by America's top cops and spy masters to take it. Kennedy's assassination has attracted conspiracy theories ever since he was gunned down in Dallas on November 22, 1963. Shortly before the Indiana primary election last year, Trump promoted a National Enquirer story about Rafael Cruz, the father of his chief rival at the time, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. The story featured a hazy photograph that it claimed might show Rafael Cruz standing next to JFK assassin Lee Harvey Oswald. His father was with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to Oswald's being, shot. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous, Trump told Fox News at the time. "What is this?" right prior to his being shot, and nobody even brings it up. They don't even talk about that. That was reported, and nobody talks about it, Trump said. No matter how much is ultimately revealed about the 1963 killing in Dallas, it probably won't be enough to satisfy conspiracy theorists who believe someone other than Lee Harvey Oswald was involved in the assassination, including the government itself. The Warren Commission in 1964 reported that Oswald was a lone gunman, and another congressional probe in 1979 found no evidence to support the theory that the CIA had been involved. But other interpretations, some more creative than others, have persisted. For example, Roger Stone, a close Trump ally, advanced the unsubstantiated and widely disdained theory that Lyndon Johnson, who became president upon Kennedy's death, was involved in it. Stone is not sure key documents will see the light of day. He said that 440 documents related to the assassination, released by the National Archives in July, were so heavily redacted on the basis of national security that they are useless. Stone said he's lobbied Trump personally to release all remaining materials and believes the CIA is pushing the president to keep some secret. The gunshots that the Warren Commission said killed Kennedy almost immediately inspired theories about whether Oswald had been the lone gunman who, with extraordinary luck by any measure, had hit his target. As the nation mourned in disbelief, Oswald was shot and killed in police custody by Jack Ruby, forcing Americans to consider whether their government was hiding what it knew of the assassination. The event remains in the nation's living memory for a significant slice of the country. 49 million Americans, or 15% of the country, are age 65 and over, according to the Census Bureau. They were around age 11 or older at the time. The Warren Commission did little to settle the matter. Theories abounded that Oswald's murder was a cover-up for a conspiracy or government ineptitude. The deadly aim of a lonely, alienated gunman seemed hard to fathom. Presidential memo on the JFK papers. The American public expects and deserves its government to provide as much access as possible to the President John F. Kennedy assassination records so that the people may finally be fully informed about all aspects of this pivotal event. Therefore, I am ordering today that the veil finally be lifted. At the same time, executive departments and agencies have proposed to me that certain information should continue to be redacted because of national security, law enforcement, and foreign affairs concerns. I have no choice today but to accept those redactions rather than allow potentially irreversible harm to our nation's security. To further address these concerns, I am also ordering agencies to re-review each and every one of those redactions over the next 180 days. At the end of that period, I will order the public disclosure of any information that the agencies cannot demonstrate meets the statutory standard for continued postponement of disclosure under Section 5(g)(2)(d) of the President John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992, 44 U.S.C. 2107 Note. Accordingly, by the authority vested in me as President and Commander-in-Chief by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, I hereby certify that all information within records that agencies have proposed for continued postponement under Section 5(g)(2)(d) of the Act must be temporarily withheld from full public disclosure until no later than April 26, 2018, to allow sufficient time to determine whether such information warrants continued postponement under the Act. This temporary withholding from full public disclosure is necessary to protect against harm to the military defense, intelligence operations, law enforcement, or the conduct of foreign relations that is of such gravity that it outweighs the public interest in immediate disclosure. I hereby direct all agencies that have proposed postponement of full disclosure to review the information subject to this certification and identify as much as possible that may be publicly disclosed without harm to the military defense, intelligence operations, law enforcement, or conduct of foreign relations. Any agency that seeks to request further postponement beyond this temporary certification shall adhere to the findings of the Act, which state, among other things, that only in the rarest cases is there any legitimate need for continued protection of such records. The need for continued protection can only have grown weaker with the passage of time since the Congress made this finding. Accordingly, each agency head should be extremely circumspect in recommending any further postponement of full disclosure of records. Any agency that seeks further postponement shall, no later than March 12, 2018, report to the Archivist of the United States on the specific information within particular records that meets the standard for continued postponement under Section 5, G, 2, D, of the Act. Thereafter, the Archivist shall recommend to me, no later than March 26, 2018, whether the specific information within particular records identified by agencies warrants continued withholding from public disclosure after April 26, 2018. The Archivist is hereby authorized and directed to publish this memorandum in the Federal Register. Now News.